guys, welcome back to another video. My name's Taylor. I make videos about veganism, health, traveling, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite nacho recipe. It also includes vegan cheese made out of cauliflower, which is pretty hectic. You can use this as well for pizza. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click that notification bell if you'd like to see more recipes like this from me. Let's get into it. We're gonna start with our cauliflower. We have to heat up and cook the cauliflower and then set it aside to cool. For the nacho bean mix, we also need to add 1 chipotle pepper to hot water and set aside so it has time to soften. I got these chipotle peppers from the Fiji shop in Sydney, Newtown. It's a really amazing store, so definitely check it out. And then we'll just set that one aside. We're only gonna need half a head of cauliflower for this recipe, so let's chop it up and boil it. All I'm gonna do next is add this cauliflower to the pot behind me on a high heat. We're gonna start with our bean mix. You're going to need 1 clove of garlic and an onion, but a quarter of the onion is gonna be set aside for the salsa. I'm gonna try and not cry. Okay, I just need a little bit of a break from the onions, so I'm gonna start heating up the avocado oil in the fry pan. Let's add it to the pan. Now we're gonna do our garlic clove. So this recipe is like a lot of dancing around the kitchen and it's fun. Okay, so we're gonna let those onions cook for a little bit until they're golden brown, and then we're gonna add 1 can of Italian diced tomatoes and 2 cans of organic black beans. And then we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika. Now, just while the onion is cooking, we are going to chop up the chipotle, and I'm gonna leave a little bit of the water to add in with the canned tomatoes. Just give it a bit of that extra flavoring. And then we're gonna add this to the pan as well. Sometimes I forget this ingredient, but I like to put half a chili in the bean mix and the other half of the chili in the fresh salsa. I always cut this up as like the last cutting step, because if you forget that you've cut up chili and you rub your eyes, it's not a really great time. I would suggest cutting this at like the end of your cooking session. Set the smaller half of the chili aside for the salsa. Don't forget to take out the seeds. And add it to the pan. So those onions are pretty much done. So now we're gonna start adding the spices and the tomatoes and the beans to the pan. So see how there's some liquid in there? We want to get rid of some of that, but not all of it. Just until about that much. Then you want to add your tablespoon of smoked paprika. Then add pretty much just as much as you'd like, salt to taste. That's usually how much I put in there. But you can add more. Then you want to mix that thoroughly and set it on between a medium and a high heat. Let's do that. Okay, next up we are going to drain our cauliflower and set it aside for the cheese sauce. While the beans are simmering, we are gonna move on to the salsa because I'm still waiting for the cauliflower to cool down. To make the salsa is super easy. I got a Ninja blender for Christmas, which has been so amazing. Thank you, Mum and Dad. And I'm gonna use the NutriBullet looking part to make the salsa. And here I have some amazing homegrown tomatoes, fresh from the garden. They're so good and it's really hurting me to not eat them as we go right now. So I'm just gonna add this into the blender. I'm gonna add the onion, the chili, and then we have an assortment from herbs also grown fresh from the garden. We have brahmi here. This really deserves a whole nother video on its own. If you do like that sort of thing, don't forget to like this video. This here is gotu kola and it has a really long list of benefits. So make sure to subscribe to the channel if you would like to learn about what those benefits are. And here we've got a big fat stalks of brahmi. Oh, salt. Can't forget the salt. Or the beans. We have to remember to do the beans. This would also be a really good time to preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius. And then you just want to pulse this like once, twice, max 3 times. I like to eat as I go along. Let's have a taste of the salsa. Has a kick, so good. With any blender, I would recommend to clean it as soon as you use it. So I'm gonna do that right now. I hope you're ready for the next stage. Just a heads up, you can use baking trays. I prefer to use baking paper, especially compostable baking paper, but we ran out, so oil's the next best thing. Now we're gonna get going with the cauliflower cheese. So you will need a high-speed blender. You are gonna need about 200 mils of coconut cream. You could do more or less if you want, just depending on how creamy you want it. Add in 2 tablespoons of savory yeast flakes. 3.5 tablespoons of tapioca flour. You can swap out the tapioca flour for oat flour. It just won't be as sticky. I actually prefer it to be a little bit grainy, but for the purposes of this video, I just want to show you what it looks like. And I'm making a mess. 2 teaspoons of salt, preferably Himalayan rock salt. And then we also want to add in our cauliflower. Don't forget to check your beans. These are pretty good at the moment. I am just gonna leave them to the side. With this cauliflower sauce, you might need to give it a bit of help and scrape down the chunks that get stuck on the side. I also try and put all like the flakes and the tapioca flour under the cauliflower so it doesn't create a flour cloud when it starts blending. Blend it on low once again. Okay, so there's the cheese. Honestly, this is the hardest part of cooking this meal, is that I've got to start cooking the cheese and then I just want to eat it all. Now, it's time to cook this up. So you want to add this to a pot on a medium heat and keep an eye on it. Who doesn't love a little cheeky blender bite? So with this cheese sauce, you want to cook it until it starts sticking together. It's not quite there yet, but you've just got to keep stirring it. Then what we're going to do is put the tortilla chips down on the baking trays in like a circle formation so we can pop the beans right in the middle. All the portion stuff is up to you. We eat a lot in this house, so we'll use the whole packet. that is pretty much done ski. And now we can start loading up our trays. So with this cheese, you really want to spread it out and try and get all of the chips at the ends, because then it will go nice and crunchy and golden. And also just for like aesthetic reasons, I really like to mix it with the beans and the sauce. That looks pretty good to me. I'm gonna pop it in the oven, usually 10-20 minutes, and I also like to turn it up to 200 or 220 sometimes to make it extra crispy. There's mine, a little bit smaller. That is gonna stay there for 10 to 20 minutes and I will see you soon. I'm just gonna tidy up my kitchen. All right guys, I am back. I can tell those nachos are done and they are just in the oven at the moment, but first I'm gonna quickly cut up some garnishing herbs, which are from our garden, which is amazing. We have sawtooth coriander, spring onions and chives, as well as a bunch of oregano. We're obviously not gonna use all of this in dinner tonight, but I'll probably use a whole stalk. You can see that there. So I'm gonna have to keep these on baking trays. It's not the most aesthetic thing ever. If you have baking paper, you can like slide it off the baking trays and it'll look a little bit nicer, but I forgot to buy it. Wow, doesn't that just look amazing? That looks incredible. For the toppings, we're gonna add the salsa. We're also gonna add some sliced jalapenos and also avocado. These avocados are so ripe at the moment. Wow, just awesome. Let's have a really quick taste test and I'll send you on your way. Get some of the salsa. Quickly taste one of the beans. Okay. That's amazing guys, super fun to make, super easy to make. It does take a little bit of multitasking, but it is totally worth it in the end. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all my new subscribers and I appreciate everyone who takes the time to watch my videos. And until next time guys, have a really lovely day. Stay chilled, stay creative, and much love.